Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Burning Questions, brought to you by Fantasy Football Scout. Unfortunately, Harry is in Madrid this week, sunning himself, enjoying, probably mixing with Arsenal fans, or trying to avoid them, I don't know. But I'm pleased to say that we're joined by Fantasy Football Scout video editor Scott to off the bench this week. Scott, how are you doing?
Yeah, not so bad, Tom. Yeah, I've actually, my room is an absolute mess at the moment. By the way, I've got lining paper on walls. I've got a brand new computer, but we're here, and we are in place of Harry. Unfortunately, I'm not in Madrid though, like him. That is a real shame. Although I was in Spain last week, so swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, it's good sunshine here, so not too jealous. We have got a busy show today. We're going to be looking ahead to Gameweek 33, talking bench boost, captaincy, and some players who non-free hitters could consider, so guys who have a good fixture in 34 as well. So if in the chat you let us know if the audio is perfect, and then we will get cracking with Scott's Game Week 32 team, which is on the screen for the podcast listeners. Scott bench boosted for 90 points with Raya, Gvardiol, Munoz, Trippier, Saka, Sarr, Murphy, Salah, Marmoush, Isak captain, Mateta, and then the bench boost was 12 points with Verbruggen, Saliba, Rodgers, and Kanate. So Scott, you want to kick off with that?
Yeah, I just want to sort of re-stress my disaster class of a Game Week 32, really. The bench boost looked good. I thought when I obviously wildcard in 30, like I'm sure a lot of you did as well. I thought it looked better for me in terms of, because I think the way I looked at it is I was probably going to end up with 3 Newcastle assets on the bench for a Game Week 33 bench boost, which I didn't particularly like, obviously away at Villa with the form they've been on. So yeah, Game Week 32 looked really good, but I think I've been let down by the lack of clean sheets. I was talking on a podcast about this the other day. I mean, to not get any clean sheets out of Verbruggen, Saliba, and Kanate, I think is slightly harsh, but that is the game that we play in it. But yeah, I mean, Leicester haven't scored in about 3 months. West Ham scored in the 87th minute, and obviously I think Brentford scored relatively late, about the 70th minute, and Vista equalised. But yeah, to come out of that, I don't think anyone would have expected to come out of that without a clean sheet. I don't know about you, Tom.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, especially when Bradley was there with the clean sheet.
I know, that's what I think. That's the worst thing. Van Dijk returned, obviously with the goal at the end, and Bradley came off, didn't he, for a 9-pointer as well. So I did actually bring Kanté in Game Week 32, and potentially looking back, maybe Bradley would have been a better player, although Trent is back on grass now, so and I probably need him long term, Kanate, just to sort of get through the rest of few weeks of the rest of the season. So I'm not totally against the move, but obviously in the short term, it's not paid off at all, really.
Yeah, but elsewhere, Trippier, Murphy, some good points there.
Oh, last night was the first goal was just perfect. It was like, this is just, I'm living in.
Yeah, it was good fun, that Trippier.
The thing was, well, obviously without using a lot of people had triple captaincy last week, and I didn't have triple captaincy, so it was all about sort of trying to limit Isak's points. Now we obviously got a goal and assist, but I actually would have took that before the thing started, because he didn't actually get any bonus points in either game either. So I probably took that as a way out. I know obviously I didn't catch him anyway, but that could have really hurt me, but it didn't. And yeah, Trippier getting the assist for the Jacob Murphy first goal was always good, because Trippier sort of even this season a bit, but mainly other seasons, has always been really good for bonus points as well. So I thought he'd obviously get one, and he did. So yeah, no, really pleased with the week, to be honest, except the obviously the failed
Green Arrow though as well.
Yeah, but Green Arrow again, I'm now I think up to 175k.
Yeah,
which is I think I've been up at 120 at one point, but it's not horrendous, which it was a few weeks back. So yeah. We're going in the right direction. I think obviously next week's going to be tricky again, because obviously I'm not of a bench boost, and a lot will, so I'll probably lose rank again there. But then obviously the free hit in 34 might better game me rank again potentially there if all going well, really.
Yeah, good stuff. Moving on to my team, slightly higher, 97. I think I'm 3 points ahead of you, Scott. Now it's pretty close.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you finally overtook me. I think I've been ahead for a few weeks, but yeah, you're back ahead. So yeah,
it's going to be close. But yeah, for the podcast listeners, I had Raya, Munoz, Bradley. I went Gabriel to Bradley to bench Gvardiol as a late decision, which I'm not going to lie, was lucky, exceptionally lucky. You come off with 3 bonus.
This man gets the star, man, honestly.
And then Trippier, which is great. Saka, Murphy, Sarr, Salah. Isak triple captain, Marmoush, Mateta. And then my bench had nothing, but luckily I didn't bench boost. Yeah, triple captain was, I mean, slightly disappointing if you told me Newcastle were going to score 9 goals. But at the same time, you can never complain with returns. It's blanked in the past, so 11 points is not
What were
bad.
you looking to get out of the triple captain, Tom? What was it? What would you have took before the kick up the start of play before the Man United game?
I don't know, like 12, 11,
Oh, so you're
15,
not.
something
Yeah,
like
so
that.
you're there or thereabouts then.
Yeah, and he's had his chances. Like I think he had 7 shots last night. Isak, second most he's had in a game this year. Um, and against Man United, he really should have scored as well. But oh well. Murphy steals the show. What a player! And he was still pretty low owned as well, about 60%, which was quite surprising but nice. And then Palace, yeah, Munoz getting -1 in a double is I can forgive him because he's had a cracking few weeks for me, but
Well, you've had him for ages, haven't you? Now, have you had him since
yeah,
like game week 25 or something? Like you've had all
yeah,
all the returns really, like the Fulham away return, the Man United away returns. You've had them all.
yeah, he's been fun. But obviously, on the flip side of the Newcastle points, I guess Palace had to crash really for Murphy and Trippier to do so well. But yeah, we will move on to our first discussion point, which is captaincy. But we'll do the super chat now, so we don't forget. From Triple T, thank you very much. He says, "Hey gents, have Saka and Rodgers. Would you do Murphy to Rashford for a -4?" I assume you'd have to be free hitting in 34, because if you're
Yeah,
not, you're not selling Murphy with Ipswich.
We'll do switch it on.
For a
Yeah, so
hit,
let's just go on the idea that he is going to 3 at 34.
I'm not sure.
Would you? Do you think
Because
Rashford
I don't
starts?
think Rashford will start twice.
No, I don't think he start. I'm not sure he starts the weekend. I think they'll start Watkins at the weekend. Just because obviously Rashford. I mean, to be fair, Rashford did come off early against in the Champions League. I'm not. I don't know.
I wouldn't do it.
It's not worth it for a -4. Is it?
No.
I think if you do it for free, I think
Because
it's
if
worth
Murphy
it, but not for a
scores,
-4.
you need big points to gain it back.
And with the form Murphy's on, I mean, there's Villa are not exactly the tightest defence in the world. We saw that again in the PSG game. I think they've kept 3 clean sheets in 4 in the Premier League, but throughout the season they've not been a rock solid defence, have they at all? So yeah, I don't think I'd do that personally, because Murphy's been in unbelievable form as well. I think he's got the 3rd most goal contribution since like December the 7th. It showed on Sky the other day. So I mean, yeah,
England, fire up the England bandwagon.
No
Get him in
chance.
the England squad.
That is, you are in a laugh, but that. But no, he's doing well, and to be fair, Murphy, I think he's proved a lot of people wrong this year, because I think in the summer they'll probably look to sort of address that. I think that right wing spot,
Yeah.
I still think they will. I'd like an Mbeumo or someone like that, but I think right now you can't not what he's doing. And to be honest, they're free for scoring at the moment as well, Newcastle.
Yeah, he's class. So we'll move on to our first discussion point, which is captaincy. I think it will be pretty split this week, although it's probably quite risky to go Saka, and Mateta's form probably rules him out. But we've picked out 4 options: Salah, Marmoush, Saka, and Mateta, to go in a bit of depth on the screen. There's their stats over the last 6 weeks. Marmoush has scored the most points, 1 more than Salah in the last 6 weeks. Salah's top for expected goal involvement and big chances, though. But Marmoush is not far behind. Mateta, with 5 starts, his data is shocking, really. 5 starts, the best part of 1 expected goal involvement, and just 19 points. And Saka's actually beaten that number in just 1 start. In no starts and a few sub appearances. So, and then the other table for the podcast listeners is the team defence data of the last 6. Leicester are the worst with 13.4 XG conceded, Liverpool the best. So we'll kick off with Salah. Single game weaker. Scott, how strongly are you actually considering not captaining a doubler?
Truthfully, I'm not. I think I will go with. I think the only thing that obviously that you look at Salah for is the fact that he's got the upside against in the sort of Leicester fixture. I think if they weren't playing Leicester if they weren't playing Leicester, Ipswich, or Southampton, I think you'd look at it and go, "There's just absolutely no way I'm going to captain him." But because they are playing Leicester, I think there is an upside that you could look at sort of a high end double-digit score quite comfortably, like a sort of 15 plus. I think that's definitely doable. But as a sort of blanket statement, really, unless in complete sort of freak circumstances, I really don't like going for a single game week player against a double game week player. So for me, I think I think he was up against Mateta potentially. I'd probably nudge Salah. I think he's probably in your top three captaincy options. But I just think the other two for me are stronger. That's sort of my personal opinion on it. But again, I think the other thing with the potential that you could mention is that Saka's minutes could be so low that actually he gets as many minutes as Salah anyway. So there is definitely that to bear in mind.
Yeah, I'm putting Salah second. I mean,
Yeah.
looking at that defensive data, Leicester have conceded the most XG in the last 6 weeks. We know how good Salah is, and it's probably a risk to suggest Saka starting twice.
I just don't think he will he?
So
Because it's a
therefore, I
hamstring
think
injury,
Salah's
isn't it?
better.
So
Yeah. Marmoush is the second option on that table. Scored more points than Salah in the last 6 weeks. He is up against Everton and Villa. Everton actually the fourth best team for expected goals conceded and the best for big chances conceded the last 6 weeks. So that won't be easy at all. And then Villa sort of more mid-table. We've both got it on Marmoush at the minute. Is that sort of because of the lack of other options, or do you confident he can go big?
no, I think it is. I think it's lack of other options. I don't actually think it's an unbelievable captain. I think if you had Haaland, it'd be completely obvious. But I don't think Marmoush has the same sort of upside. But what I will say about Marmoush is that his home games, especially, he has been really, really good in. I mean, we've seen sort of the hat trick obviously against Newcastle, but we saw a 13-pointer against Brighton, and the points have consistently come at home. So actually, I think the Everton fixture for me looks quite poor, and I'm not really expecting that much. Maybe I think if you get a goal, any sort of goal contribution, that you're doing well. But I do look at that sort of Villa fixture with the amount of football the Villa players have played as well as a bit of an upside fixture, especially if you look at sort of what Marmoush has done at home. So yeah, I think he slightly edges it, but I don't think he's a really good option. I think if we knew Saka was going to play the 180, he'd have the hard man for me. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think I would captain Saka if we knew he'd start twice. Marmoush, yeah, as you say, he's only scored at home. He's yet to score away.
I think he scored away in the cup, didn't he? Away at Bournemouth in the cup, I believe.
Yeah, I'll take your word for that. But yeah, as long with Salah, he's 4 big chances created, so there's assist potential as well as goal potential, which is always something to look out for with the captain. Mateta seems to have Palace have completely gone off the boil. Wouldn't shock me if Nketiah started, although not that he's like pulling up trees either when he comes on, but especially that Arsenal fixture before the semi-final.
Yeah, no, I don't think he'll start. I think Mateta will start both, but the only thing with Mateta that we have seen is a sort of
he's coming off early, isn't he?
He's just coming off early, isn't he? That's the thing. I mean, he came off at half time, didn't he, away at Man City? I think he came off early last night as well. Yeah, I think that you've got to look at that in because again, if you're comparing minutes again, I think you've got to compare minutes. And if you're comparing Mateta's minutes to Salah, I think you're looking at maybe 120 for Mateta and 90 for Salah. So is it again? I think if that's the comparison, you got to go with Salah. I think. So yeah, that's the way I see it really. For me, Marmoush is this outstanding captain choice. I think he will be the most captain player this week, sort of in the top 100k. I think I'll be very surprised if he isn't. But I genuinely don't think there is an outstanding captain choice as a blanket statement really this week, to be honest.
Yeah, let us know in the chat who you're captaining. I think I agree with Scott that Marmoush is the front runner with Salah second, then Saka. Although maybe I don't know, then Saka. Don't know. Maybe Bowen would be better.
How about an Arsenal defender? Like, is that just ridiculous? Because they haven't kept clean sheets recently at all. Obviously,
yeah, their data's good.
The Real Madrid first leg.
Yeah, as you can see on the screen, they're the second best last 6.
Yeah, like they've got Ipswich away and Palace at home. We know Palace, as you said, have been struggling as of late. Obviously, didn't score last night away at Newcastle. Ipswich do score goals as well, so I don't think that's a nail clean sheet either. But I just think maybe if you look at sort of a Saliba potentially, he'll probably will start both. Could he be an option? I think that's a bit out there, but I think this week especially you are probably more. I think more out there shouts could come into it this week because, as I said, I just don't think there's such an outstanding choice.
Yeah, I'd have to
disagree.
I'd have to be Gabriel if anyone for the goal threat. I can't captain a defender with no. I mean, Saliba's attacking numbers are really poor this year. So if Gabriel was fit, then yeah, because you could get a goal. But there's not a defender there that stands out for me. What about De Bruyne as a differential? There was a question
you
earlier.
think he starts both? Because I've seen a lot of hype around De Bruyne recently, but I'm not convinced he's going to start both. I think the sort of at his age now, he's not starting. I can't see Pep starting him week on week on week, and I'd be surprised if he plays both. Would you?
Yeah, I guess it depends if he wants him in the semi-final or not.
Well, I think he's first choice at the moment, so I think he will do. The only thing to say is that the fixtures are not like the easiest fixtures in the world for City, are they? So potentially for that reason, he will play it.
There was a question in the chat: would you sell Foden to De Bruyne?
For a -4, no. For 3, probably, yeah.
I think there's a world where they both start one game, isn't there?
Yeah, but I just think Foden's just been so awful as of late in terms of sort of an attacking standpoint and in terms of a sort of a goal contribution standpoint that I just think I think you've got to back the man in form right now, and obviously De Bruyne's just going for 12 points, and I think he has got more upside at the moment. So I probably would. What would you do? Would you sell?
Probably, yeah, because I do think there's an outside chance that he keeps starting if he's playing well. Because obviously City, they need to win just as much as they need the FA Cup.
Yeah, true.
Especially
but they are still blessed with rotation, especially in them sort of positions, are they? To be fair.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, bringing Foden in is not exactly weakening it, but yeah, just covering off Mateta. Question in the chat: is it time to sell Mateta?
Not before I double.
No. I guess if you don't own Marmoush by some reason, you probably make a case to do that.
But surely you'd sell one of the strikers before you'd sell Mateta.
If you didn't have Marmoush, would you sell Isak or Mateta?
It depends if I'm going to free it 34 or not. If I'm 3 in 34, which I am, then I'd probably sell Isak, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. I'd probably stick with Mateta. I mean, last night, if he takes a penalty, he'll score, and it's a bit different. Why is he not taking the penalty? Why do they swap it around all the time?
But does that mean that he's now going to be taking penalties? Because
he already was. He was.
I know he was at the start of the season. He was, wasn't he? But
and then
I don't know.
Did Eze just ask for it? I'm not sure, but.
Well, that's happened at the start of the season because Eze was the penalty taker, and I think against Leicester at home, when I think they drew 2-2, didn't they, earlier in the season? I'm pretty sure Mateta had already scored, and then he took the penalty off Eze, I believe, and he obviously did score. But yeah, I always find that bizarre. I think you've got to have a penalty taker, aren't you, really? And I don't think Palace have a clear one. And to be fair, it's not exactly working, is it? Because Eze's penalty yesterday was atrocious, really.
Yeah, did you see Mateta's reaction as well when he missed it? He flung his arms up in the air. Manon in the chat saying, why would you hold Mateta? Stats aren't great, minutes aren't great. Just because they're double, really.
Minutes aren't great, but if he's playing 60 in both, he's getting 120, which is a third more than any single game we play possibly can.
And he's still scored 8 goals it was 9 in 11, so he scored 9 in 12, which is still pretty good.
I don't hate that Bournemouth game either. I think the Bournemouth game's pretty decent.
Yeah. Cool. So just to sum up captaincy, we are both agreed on Marmoush, and then probably Salah second, just because we don't think Saka's going to start twice. Cool. So we will move on to a bit of bench boost chat. Obviously, not to bring up old wounds, Scott, but
you bring up old wounds, Tom. No,
lots of people are bench boosting this week.
Yeah, and I'm going to be getting a red arrow again. Brilliant. Never mind.
But we should say, when did you choose your triple captain? Because you would have won.
Yeah, that's what. No, my triple captain was awful. I had Haaland against Southampton at home, and he scored. I think he scored for about 5 minutes, and they won 1-0, and they didn't score again. Yeah. So that was dreadful as well.
All right, sorry about that. I didn't know that. But yeah, so we will chat about the bench boost. We're kind of going to frame this discussion in a way that kind of assumes that most people have their doublers in position. And obviously City and Arsenal, you're probably not buying to bench boost. The exception being Kivior, so we'll bring him into discussion a little bit. And we'll cover off Aston Villa just briefly. Where do you rank Villa sort of defenders? Because on the wild card, I basically went for Wan-Bissaka instead of Konsa, despite the double, just because the minutes are uncertain. I guess now they're out of the Champions League, it's going to be all systems go. So Konsa will probably start twice. So I guess where do you sit with Concert as opposed to a single game week defender?
I think I'd back Konza over a single game week personally. Because Aston Villa have improved defensively recently. As I said, they've got 3 clean sheets in 4 in the Premier League now.
Yeah.
Having said that, the fixtures are awful in terms of defensive sort of capacity, aren't they? So you're probably not expecting a clean sheet, but he does provide a slight bit of attacking return. I mean, he should have scored twice, shouldn't he, against PSG, and did obviously score the one. So and obviously even just for appearance points, unless he's going to get minus points for sort of goals conceded, I think I'd slightly back Konza over Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah. And then
because the thing is as well, if Wan-Bissaka's clean sheet gets wiped, which could do, I mean Southampton have been scoring, then you knacker that you're instantly.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I guess Konza's probably City and Newcastle. Yeah.
They are bad fixtures for a defense. They are 100% bad fixtures. There's no doubt about it. But there is every chance that West Ham are not this super team. Like there is every chance. Like I mean, Southampton scored at Liverpool a few weeks back. Like there's. I don't think it's a complete banked clean sheet. Like you probably thought Brighton was potentially at the weekend. I don't because Southampton has scored much more sort of. Well, they've been scoring more goals than Leicester have comfortably.
Yeah, and then we should just shout out Kivior as well. 4.8, I think. Arsenal defender. So. He's obviously a pick. Like if you've got Trippier or something, Kivior is a good bench boost option as well.
Is he the best defensive transfer this week if you haven't already got triple Arsenal? Do you think?
Probably. I mean, I can't. He's the best doubler, like cheaper doubler for a bench boost. And Arsenal's fixed data's great, despite Gabriel. Like against Brentford, they only conceded 0.01 xGC. So they were pretty unlucky to concede. I think he probably is. I guess Bradley. If it's 1 week, do you back Bradley? The upside? I don't know, but
I probably would actually.
Yeah.
Because Leicester actually have scored away more than they've scored at home. I think they haven't scored at home since November. So
yeah, they haven't actually. I think it's 8 home games they haven't won.
Yeah, something like that. So with that bearing in mind, I think you've got to. I think also Bradley can offer attacking sort of contributions to carry as well. I think I'd go Bradley if anyone, to be honest, this week.
Yeah, cool. So that brings us on to our sort of single game week bench boost discussions. I've picked up the 4, just simply picked up the 4 best teams according to the FPL fixture ticker this week. Liverpool playing Leicester, Man United with Wolves, Southampton with West Ham, and West Ham with Southampton. Probably ignore Southampton. But Liverpool, cheap assets is obviously Bradley. I think he's a great shout to buy as a 1 week punt with Trent back in training. So you'd have to look beyond 33 if you needed him. But if not, he's a good punt. If not, Konate's only 5-1. So it's not a massive stretch.
5-2 now.
5-2.
But yeah, regardless, I think if you want Bradley long term, then go for him and go for Konate. But if it's just a 1 week punt, then Bradley's much better, I think.
Yeah. Man United playing Wolves. Ironically, I'd probably recommend Aït-Nouri more than a Man United defender.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Because it is Old Trafford, I mean.
But they're playing tonight. That's my concern.
Yeah, it will be a rotated team like it was at Newcastle.
And
when's the Europa League next round? Because they're going to be playing. If they go through tonight, they'll be playing Athletic Club in semi-final. But
it's
when
the
is that
1st and the 8th. So that
it's probably.
So
I don't think he will rest this weekend. Then. Do you think he will rest?
I mean, he might have to. Like, could they go extra time? We'll have to see. But
yeah, well, you have to see. I think if it goes extra time, then potentially. But I don't think you need to rest this weekend because they're going to have all week off, aren't they? So.
No, but they might be a bit leggy. I don't know. What do you think? Aït-Nouri against Dorgu? Who would you look to bring on a bench boost?
I don't really like either.
I think Aït-Nouri's a good shout.
Pick one of Aït-Nouri or Dorgu. I'd probably go Aït-Nouri, yeah, just because I mean, what has he got? He's got like 9 goal contributions now.
10,
Obviously, he got
10 now.
Is it 10? Yeah,
most of all
it's
defenders.
It's 4 and 6 in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
4 goals, 6 assists, I think. So yeah, no, but I think he'd have to be the one because especially with the form as well. Because Wolves are playing really well at the moment. They've won 4 the last 4. So yeah, probably Aït-Nouri just, but. I don't really like either of them. Do you like either of them options?
I think Dorgu is quite attacking,
Yeah,
But
he is. That is definitely true. Yeah,
whether I haven't actually seen him like have a shot on target yet, but he does seem to get into the positions.
No, I bet his sort of XG is pretty decent
It is
actually
good.
for
It's
a
all right
defender.
the last 3 weeks.
But I don't. In the same breath, like he's sort of his ability to finish, I think it's questionable at times. I mean, he had a number of chances against Man City, didn't he, when he was in the around sort of the penalty area, and sort of just completely scuffed a number of decent chances. So,
Yeah.
but if you are getting in the positions, the goals usually follow. But I don't know. I'm not fully convinced on either of them, to be honest.
Yeah. Another name to throw into the mix, Wan-Bissaka, home to Southampton. I think behind Bradley is probably the second best. Single game week bench boost pick.
Yeah, I think he's decent. There's no doubt about it, he's decent.
5 attacking returns this year.
Yeah, I don't hate him. I think he's decent.
Yeah. On the West Ham theme, Areola, home to Southampton, as a bench boost goalkeeper. Where are you ranking him with the doublers? I guess they're different price ranges, but like Martinez or Areola.
I'd probably go Areola, to be honest. No, maybe I wouldn't because I don't know. I think I'd probably go Areola just so you're not stuck with Martinez because the price point he's at, it's going to be unless you're not gonna have a wild card to get out of it, are you? So I'd probably go Areola just so you can have him, so you're not taking up tons of your budget on Martinez. What would you do?
Areola. I just can't see Villa keeping a clean sheet this week.
They might get some save points though, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to sell Martinez for Areola, but I think
No.
I think I'd look at long term and think, well, I don't really want sort of Martinez at his price point for the rest of the season because you've probably already got quite an expensive. You've probably already got Raya, haven't you? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So do you want Martinez and Raya? You probably don't. So
No.
maybe Areola's probably better just for that stuff, for that sort of reasoning, really.
Yeah. Other West Ham players, Bowen, obviously Southampton at home this week, and then some decent fixtures afterwards. I think it's a great shout. Someone in the chat saying Palmer to Bowen. I think that's perfectly legit, to be fair. I guess.
Would you not just do Palmer to De Bruyne or Foden? Probably De Bruyne if you're going to do it, or Saka maybe if you can't got him.
I'm not sure I'd buy Saka, you know. If
Did
you
you
don't
not?
think he starts twice, I don't really see why, because I think loads of people are going to sell him in 35.
Yeah, but if he does start one of them and you get 16 other or something, you put 140 odd minutes. So
Yeah. I guess you'd prioritize the doubler, but I don't know. I think lots of people will be selling Saka soon.
I think selling
I think
Saka's gonna-
Mbeumo is going to come back on the radar big time.
Well,
So-
do you go early on Bruno? I mean, do you
Could
just go
do.
on
I mean, Brighton at home, yeah. It's not awful. I'd probably look at De Bruyne first. I think.
Yeah, I think if I was buying it, I'd buy De Bruyne if I was going to sort of replace Palmer. But I think if I already had De Bruyne, I probably would buy Saka. To be fair, I think I would do that.
Yeah. So yeah, sum it up. The chat question in the chat: best 5 million and under defender for a bench boost. I think we both agree Bradley. If you're not,
Unless you can get Kivior.
yeah, Kivior. If that works, then Bradley. Then Konsa, Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, then Wan-Bissaka probably. They're your top four anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, Kivior, if you can go anywhere, you go Kivior. But I imagine a lot of people have got triple Arsenal anyway. Would there any point be selling Saka to go triple Arsenal defence? Or is that just not worth it?
I don't think selling doublers is a great position to be in. You'd have to be in a pretty luxury position to do that.
Yeah.
Anything in the chat? I've never pronounced this guy's name. Agbadu, the Wolves guy.
Yeah, Agbadu, that's how you say it.
Yeah, 3.9 is he? 4.
Yeah, he's a min price anyway.
Yeah, if you need a dirt cheap, like to avoid De Bruyne or something, he's not the worst shout this week. Especially if you're not free hitting.
If you're not free hitting, you've got Leicester at home next week. Yeah.
Which brings us to our final discussion point, which is kind of aimed at non-free hitters. So on the screen we've got the fixture ticker. for game week 33 and 34. So at the top, you can see the teams that play in both and have strong games. So West Ham are top with Southampton and Brighton, Wolves with Man United and Leicester. You could argue they'd be top. I guess the ticker hasn't quite reacted to Man United yet. Liverpool with Leicester, Spurs, Bournemouth, and then Bournemouth in fourth with Palace and Man United. So if you weren't free hitting this week, I guess West Ham are probably up there.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
But West Ham, you got to bear in mind, Tom, that West Ham are not a good team. Like they are.
Bowen is a good footballer.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, but yeah, I think if you got Bowen, I think obviously an obvious shout. But I think besides Bowen, I don't. Long term, I think the Southampton game obviously looks good for like Wan-Bissaka and Areola, etc. But long term, I don't think I want to have tons of West Ham players, to be honest with you.
No, that's fair enough. I think Bowen or nothing, I suppose. But they've still got to play Southampton, Brighton, Spurs, Man United, Ipswich, which are good attacking fixtures.
I mean, there ain't another attacker, is there? I mean, you're not going to go Evan Ferguson hasn't really worked, Kudus hasn't worked this season. It's Bowen or bust, really, isn't it, in the attacking sense.
Yeah. Wolves is a really interesting one, especially for non-free hitters. It's all about Cunha. I think he's going to be a lock on the free hit if he starts this week. Do you think he'll come back in the team after they won again?
Yeah, I do. I think he'll get back in for sure. Sort of in that sort of number 10 left-hand side pocket with Strand Larsen up front. And I think we've got to mention Strand Larsen, to be honest, Tom. I mean, has he got 5 returns in 4 now or something ridiculous?
I suppose he's a bench boost pick as well.
Yeah, he's definitely a striker. Yeah, 100%. And I think when you're looking at a free at 34, for me, Strand Larsen, especially at the price, I think he's still 5.4 million. I think there's an option to potentially go Cunha and Strand Larsen next week. I think that's definitely a possibility, because I mean that wouldn't be realistic long term, but just for a 1 week punt, I don't see an issue with that at all.
That's going to swing. That if people who just go one, that's going to be a swing, I reckon.
I think people will go. I think people will probably go Cunha, probably. But Strand Larsen's form he's been one of the most informed strikers in the league over the last sort of month or so. There's just the numbers just don't lie, do they, in terms of the goals he's been picking up?
Yeah, I mean, looking at 34 quickly, that's Isak, Cunha, and one more. I mean, Chris Wood has Brentford, Strand Larsen, yeah.
Brentford have been pretty decent defensively though recently, haven't they? I know they were struggling at the start of the season, but they've really picked up. I mean, against Arsenal, they were really solid. I know they got caught on a transition for obviously the goal that they conceded, but for the most part, they were really comfortable, I thought, in that game anyway. I think they have turned a corner, Brentford, defensively, to be honest. So I'm telling you, Strand Larsen's the way to go.
Yeah, he's a great. Yeah, and he's even a buy this week, I think, with Man United. I
think you're right. Yeah,
if you're looking longer term, if you are sick of Mateta. Liverpool, I guess, looking a bit longer term, it makes Bradley a bit of an avoid. So it's probably Canate is if you're not free hitting in 34, it's probably the pick this week. You'd think Bournemouth. I mean, do we recommend Semenyo again? Like
I don't know if we can do it.
Goal and assist in the last 2 since I sold him.
I know, but I just don't know if we can do it. I mean, the guy's been. Well, every time you take him out, he returns, and every time you have him, he don't. I don't know. He's just too inconsistent for me. There's just so many blanks. Would you look at Evan Nielsen instead? Like, because Evan Nielsen's returns have been much more consistent. I think he's he's got something like. Has he got 4 in 4 now? Something like that. I think Evan Nielsen.
Probably not ahead of a Wolves striker.
No. The striker's going to be good next week, aren't they? Because you can pick him from. Yeah, Evan Nielsen, I think, is going to be an option. Isak's going to be an option. Strand Larsen, Cunha, just to name a few.
Yeah.
Potentially Visser as well, I think you could look at.
Yeah. I mean, Bournemouth next 2 is Palace and United. So if you've got Semenyo and you're not free hitting, probably not worth the sell. But yeah.
No, I probably wouldn't sell. I don't think I'd sell Semenyo, but I don't think that many people own him anymore, do they, Semenyo now?
What else?
There's a lot of people went Cliver, obviously. He's been out, so I don't think he'll. Obviously, unless to be fair, if Cliver got back fit, would you look at him again? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, if Areola says he's back fit, then yeah, I mean he's on penalties. He's the best asset. Yeah, so Newcastle as well. This is quite tricky if you're not free hitting, because they've obviously got Ipswich next week. So you're probably not looking at Murphy to Rodgers, for example. Isak to Watkins are probably all no-goes if you are not free hitting.
It's true. I think not free hitting in 34 is going to be difficult, especially if you've. Surely you'd have planned it anyway at this point. I think most people wildcard, didn't they, 30 or 31, and if you have done, surely you planned ahead. If you were going to be free hitting 34, because I think otherwise it's going to look quite. I think the players you need in 33, you just naturally don't need in 34, do you? So.
Yeah, but somebody like Murphy, for example, is not a bad pick this week either. So
Villa away is not great, though, is it? I mean, what are you? I'm not really expecting anything in that game, really. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should be. I don't think I am.
think Newcastle beat Villa, don't you?
I don't know. Villa in the league have been absolutely brilliant recently.
How do you think they'll react from Wednesday? Or Tuesday?
Well, the only thing with Wednesday is especially in that second half, they put a lot into the game, and that is a lot of energy burn for sure. So maybe there will be a hangover. I think that could happen. And Newcastle are flying, but bear in mind, Tom, Newcastle played midweek as well. But they both played midweek.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not convinced Newcastle do win that, to be honest. But I might be wrong.
Yeah. Cool.
But they don't have to win for Murphy to get an assist, does it? I mean, Murphy could easily return without them winning the game.
Yeah. We will do our teams quickly, then we'll answer a few questions before we wrap up, taking us to 40 minutes. So we'll start with Scott's team for Gameweek 33. For the podcast, he's got Raya, Gvardiol, Munoz, Saliba, Saka, Sarr, Rodgers, Marmoush, Mateta, all doubling with Isak and Salah. In the team as single game weekers. On the bench, he's got Verbruggen, Kanate, Murphy, Trippier. Looks alright for a bench boost, that.
Tom, don't say it.
So yeah, talk us through the team, captaincy, and potential moves.
Yeah, captaincy-wise, I think it definitely will be Marmoush. In terms of moves, I think the only one that I potentially would... I think I was planning on doing it. I don't think I will anymore. Was going to be Isak. I've got one.
One transfer, yeah.
So I think I need to sort of start saving a few up, because I think obviously when you get later in the season, we've got obviously the game week. Is it double game week 37 or 36?
36 possibly, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm obviously going to need doubles there. So my team's going to have to change naturally. So I think saving the transfer is going to be important for me. If Watkins I knew was going to start both, I think obviously Isak to Watkins would look good with me 34 free hitting anyway. But with Watkins, his sort of minutes per me massive jeopardy right now, and Isak sort of been on the form he is. I know he wasn't absolutely outstanding in the double, but he still came away with 2 returns. I can't really sort of see that move anymore personally. What would you? I mean, would you do Isak to Watkins?
No, I don't think so.
No, that's what I mean.
Because
so I think that's the only
especially like after 34, you're gonna want Isak. Like he's best striker in the league, and Watkins. Is it 4 games now he hasn't started? I mean, it's
something like that. Yeah.
I mean, based off the evidence, he's not first choice anymore.
No, he's not. He's not first choice because the Champions Leagues were the 2 games that are obviously he's going to play his strongest team, and he didn't feature.
And then he didn't even start against Southampton either.
No, having said that though, Tom, even though we're obviously saying he's not first choice, is he going to pick his first choice 11 at the weekend anyway? I mean, we've spent all video sort of talking about that he isn't there. So if he doesn't pick first choice at the weekend, potentially Watkins does get a start. But even if he does, the double's not great. The minutes are not great. For me, that's not a move anymore. And also, I need to save my transfers, in truth.
Yeah, so. I don't think it's a transfer. It's a 1 free transfer move. If you had 4, it might be worth it, but no. Bench as well. Any temptation? I mean, no. Kanate over Isak? Probably not.
That's the only one I'd potentially look at, but I mean, realistically, I'm not going to do that. The upside. Kanate is good in terms of he knocks. Like they'll probably get a clean sheet, I think, at Leicester, but he's not. He's not great for attacking returns or attacking output in any form, is he really? So you might get the odd header, but that is about it. So I think the upside of it, Isak's got to mean he starts for me.
Yeah, I think Sarr. It wouldn't shock me if Kanate outscored Sarr. I think Sarr's on borrowed time and a benching as well. Wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, it's not a great double for Palace, is it as well? So yeah.
But yeah, it looks like a good team there. 9 doublers. Captain Marmoush. Derek in the chat, I'm excited. Many people aren't considering Salah captain. Yeah, I mean, this has got Salah winning the game week all over it. the week, everyone avoids it. Hat-trick against Leicester.
It could happen. I mean, I think that's what you. The only thing I would say about Salah, I think people are forgetting, is he's not been in great form. I mean, it's one returning 3 for him now.
Since he signed the contract.
I think there's that, and there's obviously. I don't think that's anything to do with that. Actually, I think it's more the lack of Trent. I think we've seen a struggle with him since Trent has come out of the team, because obviously Trent naturally occupies their opposing winger, so they can't double up on him anymore. Because obviously they've got to watch Trent. Whereas I don't think Bradley or Cons, when he's played there at times, offer the same sort of attacking support, and they don't need the prioritisation of the defence on the fullback like Trent sort of requires. So I think that's something to do with it. But
his expected data's down as well. Last 3
Yeah, well,
weeks.
I think that doesn't surprise me. I mean, they've taken out probably one of the most attacking sort of assets in the game, one of the most biggest creators in Trent. You'd expect a downturn. I think that's what we're seeing.
Yeah. Cool. So cover off my team quickly. For the podcast, it is Raya, Munoz, Trippier before transfers, Gvardiol, Saka, Murphy, Sarr, Salah, Mateta, Marmoush, captain, Isak, with a bench boost that I know is not active at the minute. I will activate it. In fact, I'm going to do that now, because we had Az last year forget to do it, and he ended up in the Daily Star. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to activate that now, actually. Yes, it will be Captain Marmoush pretty easily. As we discussed at the start of the show, change the vice captain to Salah probably. Transfers wise, it will be Trippier and Murphy to Saliba and Rodgers for the double. Getting 2 more doublers. I'm going to go Saliba over Kivior just because I can, basically.
Why would you do that? Out of curiosity.
Just because Saliba's absolutely guaranteed to start.
And you're not because. But is it worth it, the risk for the extra? Because what's Saliba up at 6 points? So he's 6.5 now. I think he might be.
Yeah, but it's just, especially around the semi-finals as well. Like when the title's wrapped up in a couple of weeks and they're in the Champions League semi-finals, Saliba will just keep playing, I think.
Yeah, but 1.7 mil, Tom.
True. Maybe I should consider that more.
Truthfully, I'd probably bring in Saliba, so I don't know what I'm talking about, but.
Well, no, it's a fair point. It is a fair point. If they'd gone out the Champions League, I think Kivior would be pretty, nailed.
It's because the gulf in price is so much. I mean, if he was like 6 million, I wouldn't even consider it. But for 1.7 million more,
yeah,
it does open the door slightly, I think, for sure.
Yeah, no, maybe it's something I'll consider. So, yeah, it'll be a bench boost. People in the chat can come at me for Isak or Bowen. I mean, who would you bench out of that? What do you think's the fair bench boost there? Isak or Bowen?
I'd start Bowen over Isak.
Yeah, I don't know. Would you bench the best striker in the league on penalties?
It doesn't matter anyway because you bench boosting, so it really doesn't matter.
But if you're being legit, obviously you have to put your worst players on the bench. But yeah,
I don't know, actually. I don't know if I would.
With penalties, I don't know.
It's a 50-50 call, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it's obvious, no. So, yeah, my bench boost will be Areola, Bowen, Wan-Bissaka, all against Southampton. So I look forward to the Will Smallbone goal in the second minute that just ruins
James
my weekend.
Ward-Prowse own goal. He's not there anymore.
And then Bradley as well. So, yeah, Rodgers, you think... I mean, he's really all I can afford. So I think that's a fair.
Do you think he starts both, Rodgers? I know he started every game this season, but I know he's even starting the cup and everything. Do you think he will?
Yeah.
But at some point, the guy's got to get a rest, surely. I mean, he's going to pull something, surely, if he doesn't.
Yeah, but that's what he's been saying. But Emery said he understands what we do exactly, and he's clearly Emery's favourite player.
No, I agree with all that, but I mean, we getting to the end of the season. You play that much like he has, surely they're going to pull up at some point. Maybe he's more... Because there is some players that naturally just avoid injuries more, doesn't there? They're just sort of better.
But if he started against Southampton, why would he not start now when Emery said the Premier League's the number one priority? Well, I suppose the only priority, but he just will. He'll play. They're going for top 4 or 5. And it's not easy games either. It's Newcastle and City.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I just can't see it.
No, you are probably right, but It amazes me that he's just played like when they played Preston away in the cup. I mean, he didn't even get rested in that game, did he?
Yeah, it's pretty insane, but it's good for us.
Yeah. And the returns have been there for Rodgers as well. The guy's not just playing, but he's returned. I think he's returned his last three, hasn't
he? Yeah, he is. He's in good form. People in the chat having to pop my bench boost. Trippier and Murphy are being sold to double game weekers, so that's irrelevant at the minute. Bowen Isak's the only one you could possibly argue with, I think. Cool. So we will take some questions till 1:15, if that's all right with you, Scott. 5 minutes or so. Let's have a look. Get your questions in. I'll scroll back.
Would you start Aaron Wan-Bissaka over Trippier, Bowen over Murphy? So
no, he's having a go at my bench.
Oh, he's having a go at your thing, isn't he?
Yeah. They're getting sold anyway. So
let's have a look further at the chat, see if there's anything. Calafiori is a threat? No.
I mean, maybe when the title's wrapped up, he might play a game for Kivior.
This guy's saying Livramento to Bradley, Savinho could start both. What do you think about Savinho? Do you think he is an option, or do we think just because he's been benched so much recently that he's not?
I don't know. I mean, I guess you're not going to buy him, are you? First of all, no. But
I'd be surprised. But at the price point, it might be worth it.
You're not buying him. He hasn't started twice.
Stephen's saying, if you sell Foden, would you go for De Bruyne or Rashford?
De Bruyne.
I'll let you tell that one.
De Bruyne.
Would you? Yeah.
Would you do Palmer to Boomo or Rodgers? Probably Rodgers. I think.
Would you take out Pope for Martinez, and he's free in 34, or save the transfers?
That's tricky. So if you're starting Pope this week, I'd probably do it. Yeah.
I'd do it as well.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Tom's team looks like it's a free hit team if you get Rodgers and Saliba. You're getting a bit crazy.
That's what you get for planning. That's what you get by being a Fantasy Football Scout member.
Which duo scores more points this week? Savinho and Bradley or Rashford and Livramento? So Savinho and Bradley versus Rashford or Livramento. Who scores more?
Savinho and Bradley, I think. Because I think Savinho will probably start one game and Bradley will get points against Leicester. Whereas I don't think Livramento gets anything, and I think Rashford could probably start one.
I mean, Rashford could potentially stop Livramento a clean sheet.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's actually true. They're kind of working against each other.
On bench boost, would you sell Foden and Murphy to get Rodgers and Rashford for a -4? So Foden and Murphy to Rodgers and Rashford.
Can't you just do Murphy to Rodgers? No, it's a 4-point difference, isn't it?
You could just sell Foden and sell him to one of them too if you wanted to not.
Yeah, but you're selling the doublet. I don't know. Yeah, probably do.
I'd probably just. I would probably sell Foden to Rashford. Actually, I think that's what. No, Rodgers. I think that's what I'd do.
Rodgers over Rashford. Do you think?
I don't know. I think that's a 50-50 call.
Gabriel to Diaz, Murphy to Moreno. I'm chasing rank. Yeah, I mean Moreno. We haven't mentioned him, but he's a good punt. He'll probably play up front twice.
Do you think he didn't start against Brentford, did he?
Did he start last night?
I think he played 29 against Brentford. Is it better to bench boost now or wait until 35 with better fixtures?
Sorry, what was that? Wait until 38.
So
I mean, if your bench boost, if your bench boost doesn't look good, don't do it.
Have I read that wrong? It says wait until 38, I think. Yeah, it's 38, not 35.
Yeah, if you've looked at your team and you've got the transfers and you think it's going to be better, wait. Because if you're not happy with it this week, don't do it. Simple as that. But if you can get a good bench boost this week for maybe one hit, then it's probably worth it, because then you can take the money off your bench going into the last few weeks of the season. Because if you have to bench boost in 38, then you're going to be carrying a full squad over the next few weeks. which may.
Tom, I've worked out, by the way, why you're doing so well. Because you've been copying Boss Uno's 04 squad. He's got the exact same start 11 as you, Tom, if you get Rodgers and Saliba. That's why That's why you.
No, I
had him, 'cause you've been
DM'd him
copying.
for his transfers before. No, you must be doing well as well then. Good on you, boss.
He must also be 3 points ahead of me.
Yeah. That is a
How
fair
does
point
predict-
actually on the 38 bench boost. It is hard to predict starts in the last week.
How does predict who starts? Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say if you look decent this week, just get it done. I think it's a bit of a crap chip anyway. Like, it's so hard to predict, and I'd probably, yeah, if you can use it this week, you would, but don't force it.
Do you think Watkins will play? Thinking of getting instead of Rashford. I'd get Rashford over Watkins, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's other forwards. Is Rashford a forward actually? That's my
No, he's a
bad.
mid.
Yeah, so you get
Tom,
Rashford.
you've been copying Boss, mate. He's 150k.
Well, he's a point ahead of me then, so watch out. Any final questions before we wrap up? Scott can tell you, but there's more video content to come today and tomorrow.
To be honest with you, guys, there's absolutely loads of content coming up. We've got Salmon as his Q&A at 4. We've got Deadline Dilemmas, which will go out tomorrow, and we've got Scoutcast, which I know you all like, this evening as well. So there's just absolutely tons. And there's obviously team news as well at 3 o'clock tomorrow. So what's that? 5 videos in about five videos in about 24 hours. It's ridiculous stuff. The work ethic, Tom, is outstanding. I must say. No, I'm joking. But, Tom, Boss is saying, did you triple captain? I keep not calling Boss, but did you triple captain Isaac last week?
I did. Yeah, I did. It was.
Honestly, you two need to get a room or something.
I must have copied him. Not the 400,000 other people that did it. But all right, we'll take one more question. Stop talking about my team. If there's anything, I'm just scrolling through the chat, see if there's anything.
Is Rashford his first choice? Emery practically said it in his press conference.
I mean, I don't think you can argue his first choice. It's just a case of, is he going to start the next 3 games? Would be my comment.
I think we're all out, Tom.
Yeah, cool. We will wrap there. As Scott says, Q&A at 4 o'clock. So if we didn't answer your question or you've thought of another one, whack it in the 4 o'clock stream.
Oh, there's a quick one here from Bill. Isaac to Watkins for a hit. Bench boost.
No, not for a hit. Not for a hit. I think we both think Watkins won't start twice. So cool. We'll wrap that up. Check out the Q&A at 4 o'clock. Scoutcast at 9 o'clock. So plenty more streams and podcasts to get your head around. Drop a like. Do subscribe, 5 stars on the podcast if you don't mind, and best of luck for Game Week 30. Harry and Sonaldo will be back next week, so tune in for that at the same time as usual. Have a good Game Week, guys, and best of luck. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Tom. See you later, everyone.
Cheers, guys.